My name is William Ripper. I'm living in Poole in Dorset and I am 46 years old. So I've been away in Stockholm for a couple of weeks with work and probably got COVID somewhere either there or on the way home on the plane. And I went upstairs one evening to go to bed, and the next thing I knew I found I was on the floor and I couldn't get up. Luckily my wife's a doctor. She came in and immediately saw the signs of a stroke, so she called the ambulance, and next thing I knew I was in Southampton Hospital. So before I had the stroke I was working as a pilot. I was a training captain at a large private jet company, and so I was training all the new guys of how to fly the jet. I was also very sporty in my own time, so I did a lot of outdoor activities like climbing, windsurfing and mountain biking. Very active. Also a family person, married to the lovely Debs. She's a doctor at Poole Hospital, and have the two children who are 9 and 11 years old, who are also very active. So it's very important for me, having had the stroke, to try and get back and be as mobile as possible so that I could join in our active family life again. And they rushed me in there, gave me the craniotomy, so took off part of my skull and put it in under the skin of my stomach. I spent a few days there recovering, and then got transferred to Poole, to the stroke ward in Poole, and was there, I don't know how long I was in there for, but then got transferred to the head injury rehab Portland ward, and I spent 3.5 months there, basically starting my rehabilitation. I'd lost all movement in the left side of my body, so had to learn how to stand and walk all over again, and that was the start of my rehab journey. So when I had my stroke, the associated problems I had were I had some left-sided facial droop, so I needed to work on with speech and language therapy to learn to speak clearly again. Had some cognitive problems. I lost quite a lot of high-level cognitive function. Also lost the left side peripheral vision, so there was a lot of neglect of anything that was happening on my left side. So I got no movement in my left arm or left hand, and had no strength in my left leg. So I also had some problems swallowing to start with as well. So started off eating a lot of ice cream and that kind of thing until my swallow reflex strengthened. Then I could move on to more solid food. I was completely bedbound, so I couldn't support my own body weight, so I couldn't stand up independently, so had to transfer between a bed and a kind of frame for them to move me around the room. There's a lot of transferring skills that I had to learn again.
Did you use a hoist?
There was a hoist at some point, luckily I got over that part quite quickly, because I had quite a lot of residual upper body strength, luckily, from the sports that I used to do before the stroke. So I was able to quite quickly get myself onto the frame for the transfers and things like that. It was quite interesting. I think while I was in hospital, I'd kind of convinced myself that when I got home, everything would be more or less normal, and I would be able to walk upstairs and cook and join in just as normal, because I just couldn't imagine not being able to do that. And then it was only once I got home that I realised the kind of challenges I would face. It was quite obvious that I'd need some intensive therapy just to literally get me back on my feet again. A lot of the OT focus was on pretty much shifting over from having a totally dominant right side to being able to transfer some of my weight onto the left side, just to make functional tasks a bit easier. So to do that, we did a lot of cooking and meal preparation. There was also dressing and washing and that kind of thing. Just lots of different activities to just to try and get the left side of my body engaged more and more in normal activities, and just to make me more stable really on my feet, and also to improve my cognitive levels because again I was getting really very fatigued even just with a small amount of input from therapists. You know, probably manage a couple of hours a day and then need a nap. So again, it was just building up the energy levels and being able to cope with things cognitively so that I can manage more and more things each day. When I was in hospital, I kind of assumed that when I got home I'd just be able to cope with everything. So I started off having some therapy input at home with some physio and OT input, but it soon became clear, and also going up to Winchester to have physio up there, but it soon became clear that what I really needed was a more intense period of rehab just to really kickstart the recovery, the rehabilitation process. So I was very fortunate to be offered 4 weeks at Bramshott Grange, and in fairness, it completely transformed my life. I went from a period where I couldn't even stand up safely on my own to then working very hard with the therapist there and getting to the point where I could walk around outside. And after 4 weeks there, I was just a different person when I came out. So was able to stand up and walk around inside and outside reasonably safely. It's just a huge improvement in my recovery, and and also just building up the stamina of what I was able to do. So I mean, before, if I'd stood up at a work service for half an hour, I'd be exhausted, to be honest, and because you're always concentrating on trying to shift my weight over to my left side and was getting very tired very quickly. So we just slowly built up the stamina, and just was much more able to take part in a lot more aspects of everyday life when I got home. So after I returned from Bramshott, again, I was still very fortunate in that I still had quite a bit of funding to continue attending Hobbs in Winchester. The local environment was something that I still really needed to have supervision in exploring, and obviously not being able to drive at the moment. Need to start thinking about taking public transport to places. When I was in hospital, it became clear that my eyesight had been quite badly affected by the stroke, and had a lot of neglect, especially in the left peripheral vision. I mean, it was pretty much all gone, to be honest. And I'd eat a meal and then realise that I hadn't eaten the food on the left side of the plate. Or I'd shave and realise I just shaved the right side of my face, this kind of thing. So there were a lot of issues on that front. But I saw an optician when I was in the hospital, and actually they said, as long as I scan a lot, then the peripheral vision should recover. And so I tried to take part in as many activities as possible where I would be scanning, particularly to the left side. And did a lot of reading, board games, and anything like that really challenges my peripheral vision. I saw big gains and improvements actually within, I'll say, 3 months between 2 eye tests. There were big gains of improvements. So the goals now are really to start to look back into perhaps gaining employment again, finding out what I could do, and also just continuing just to get stronger, take part in other activities. I've been orienteering and things like that. So really just engaging in any kind of activities that I can. Being more organised, using a diary, because that's one thing that I really struggle with is, if things get too busy, then it's very hard for me to organise my mind in a sensible fashion. So I've been doing a lot of work with the diary and planning things, and a big goal is that during the summer, when I'll be just having family time and looking after the children on my own, is that I'll be able to cope with that and prepare the meals and make sure that I can take part in activities with them without needing assistance, and just being as independently as possible. So I think I'm getting to a stage now where I am able to do that. I have been to the beach and I've been in the sea, but it's not something I could do with the children because I need some supervision, because I couldn't help them if they got into trouble. But lots of other things I have been doing with them, like going to watch them play football matches and taking part. We've been doing archery and things like that. So we've just been thinking our way around as many activities as possible that we can do together as a family.